Hello there, my lovelies. For today's video, I'm going to be making some clay winter decorations, and these are very simple to make and they're very effective as decorations for your own home or even as gifts for others. So, if you'd like to follow along at home, these are the materials you will need. You'll need some cutters, different shapes and sizes work well for this make. These are actually cookie cutters by Winton. So I will put links in the description box for the materials I've used today, such as these. You can cut your own shapes freehand if you wish, but using a cookie cutter will give you more uniform shapes if you're making quite a few, say for your Christmas tree. So I'll just pop those to one side. You'll also need some ribbon or string. Basically, this will be attached to your clay decoration for when you're hanging them. So it's up to you what sort of colour or pattern you want to use. You might also want to use some glue and some glitter for this to give your decorations a bit of extra sparkle. Okay, so just pop those to one side. And of course your main material for this make is going to be clay. So if I just pop these over here for the time being. So for this make, you'll need to use air drying clay. I've chosen a grey, white type of clay. It also comes in terracotta, which is sort of an off brown colour, but I find for decorating purposes that the grey is much better. So as you can see, I've already rolled out my piece of clay, and you'll want to roll it out to about ½ inch thick. You want them to be quite chunky so they don't break as easily and they've got a bit of weight behind them. And my tip for rolling out clay is to use some actual baking paper. So this is just greaseproof paper that you can buy in supermarkets and other shops. It's really useful for rolling out clay and it stops it sticking to the table. So here's my piece of clay all ready. It's still a little bit damp. I don't want it to dry out too quickly, so I have a pot of water just off to the side in case I need to dampen it a bit. Okay. So, on to making. First of all, I'm going to take off my rings. I don't want them getting covered in clay. Just pop you there. My hand feels very naked without my rings on. Okay, let's just pop you there. So to start with, I'm going to use my Snowflake. So if you're using cookie cutters for this make, please wash them thoroughly afterwards. You also don't want to put your hands anywhere near your mouth or your eyes when working with clay. It's not very good for you. So just a little warning there. So once you have your cutter in place, give it a good press. Okay, just making sure I've got each corner because this cutter is quite intricate. So I want to make sure I've got each part. Okay, give it a little bit of a wiggle. And then lift it off like that. Okay, so you can see my design here. And you have to be very gentle at this point and just ease your design out. You may have to re-roll your clay a few times. To make more decorations. So just gently prying it out because I don't want it to break. Okay, just pulling out the last corner. Flatten it out again. Okay. Just smooth down the edges a bit. So that's given us a nice snowflake. Now, at this stage, while it's still semi-damp, you can leave it just plain like this, or you can press items into it. In the past I've used leaves because they give a nice delicate vein-like pattern. So for this snowflake I'm actually going to press some smaller snowflakes into the clay and it will give me a really cool winter effect. So I'm just going to grab my wooden snowflake. So you may recognize these from my card making video. They're made out of wood, and if I just move this over so you can see a bit better. Okay, so I'm going to press this into my clay. Not too far, just on the surface, like so. If I pull it off, you can see we've got this really nice pattern emerging. Okay. I think that looks really nice. So I'm just going to do a few more. Okay. Just flatten that back out. Okay, so if I pick it up, give you a closer look. Looks really cool, doesn't it? So, next little step, you'll want to grab a sharp implement of some sort, and you're going to want to make a hole at the top of your design. Ooh. So I'm just going to poke it through, like so. Give it a wiggle. Okay, and when it's dry, this hole here is going to be where you put your ribbon. Okay, so I'm just going to smooth that out. There we go. And that is all ready to be left to dry. So I'm just going to pop it to one side. Just pop you over here. And now I'm going to do a star. Okay, so pressing down again. Lifting off. And then gently pulling it out. Okay. There we go. Smooth off the sides. Okay. There's our little star. And for this one, I'm just going to leave him as is and pop my stick through the top again. Give it a wiggle. Okay. So there he is. And just going to pop you over there. So you'll want to leave your clay overnight, preferably to dry, and once you've left it, it should be dry enough to decorate. So I'm going to leave those to dry and I'll be back for decorating in a moment. Can you hear the rain outside? Let me just put my microphone to the window because I'm sat right next to it. It is pouring with rain outside. It's very grey and dull, so I'm glad I'm indoors for the time being. I've got my two decorations and they are dry. So for the first one, I want to make this one really sparkly. So I'm going to pop some glue onto a brush. going to be very gentle about this and just brush a layer over the top. Okay. So I don't want to drag the clay too much, because obviously if it gets re-dampened then the design will start to fade and it will smudge together. So I've got to be very delicate when doing this. So just tapping it in. Okay. Making sure I've got each corner. I'm just going to add a bit more. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my glitter. And I'm going to shake it over my design. Okay. Give it a few seconds just to stick to the glue. Just give it a gentle tap. Okay. So it's all sparkly and white, and you can see the bits that I've just missed around the corners with the glue, so I can touch that up and just apply more glitter. So I'm just going to do that quickly. I'm going to actually apply the glue directly just to the edges this time. Okay, because I missed a little bit there and a little bit there. Just reapply the glitter over the areas that I missed, just like so. Okay, and then shake them off again. Okay, so that's our white snowflake. Okay, I'm just going to wash my hands and then we can paint our star. Okay, so we have our little star and I'm going to paint it purple because my favourite colour is purple, as many of you know. And I'm using an acrylic paint, just neat, straight onto it. If you're using a darker coloured clay, you might want to use a white layer of paint first before you put your other colours on. So some of you may have seen my little home tour video I posted a while ago, and it was after we'd just moved in to our home, but it's changed a lot since then. we've got some new furniture, and the colours for our living room are silver and black with a bit of purple. So this year we're going to decorate our tree black and purple. So this little fella will look ideal on the tree. So I'm just dabbing some paint down into a little hole we made. And I'm going to paint the edges and the other side once the top is dry. Okay, so actually before I paint the sides, I am going to just quickly put another layer on, and I'm actually going to apply some glitter because I've got some black glitter left over from my Halloween make. So doesn't want to come out. Okay, let's try. So I'm just going to sprinkle some over, again over the top. Okay. Give it a shake. So now we've got a purple star with black glitter. I think that looks really cool. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to paint the sides and finish off the back, and then we can put our finishing touch on. Now my decorations are both dry. I'm going to take some ribbon and, using the stick I had earlier to make the hole in the clay, I'm going to push this through. Okay. Okay, just pull it through. Like so. Adjust it, and then I'm going to just tie it off. Okay, with a little knot, and then I'm going to cut off the excess ribbon. Okay, just grab my scissors. Okay, so there is one of our hanging decorations. Okay. Now I'm going to use my purple for the star. go, so it's pushed through. Just gently pull it. Okay. And again, just tie off my ribbon. Almost. There we go. Okay. Pull it tight. And then cut off my excess. You can use double-sided tape for a cleaner finish if you're giving it as a gift. Just take those out of the way. So we have our star and our snowflake. So you can really experiment with this one. Try different textures, pressing into the clay, different paint effects, using metallic paints. You can really do all sorts, pretty much. You can even use, obviously, different cutter shapes. So you could make gingerbread men or little trees. It's really up to you. So I hope you all enjoyed this simple video, and I will see you again in my next one. Bye guys.